Yo, this is Real Talk E. Welcome to the locker room where we talk nothing but basketball. If you want to be part of the locker room, you have to be part of the team. In order for you to be part of the team, you have to subscribe and share the video to not only be a part of the team and the locker room, but to also be a part of our daily basketball conversations. Yesterday might have been one of the best nights we could have possibly asked for in the NBA. That's not a Christmas night, and especially now that we are 40, 50 games into the season. Like All-Star Weekend is soon, like about a month and a half left until All-Star Weekend. So this is usually when a lot of the teams start to, sag off. A lot of teams start to, not play as hard. Some teams start like trying to tank, and so other teams are gonna start turning it up. Other teams are gonna start, try to really play for that playoff spot before the All-Star Weekend. So by the time All-Star Weekend is done, it's either easier for them or, you know, they've already established themselves. But anyways, let's get started with our first game of the night. I can't even say this was the best game of the night because we had 3 to 4 close games. But in my opinion, this was one of the best games of the night. We had the Nets and the Hawks go up against each other without Trae Young, and I expected either the Nets to, smoke the Hawks or for this to be a close game and the Hawks win. But the complete opposite happened. The Hawks came out and they were up by 15 points without Trae Young. Up by 15. They go in against the Nets led by KD and Kyrie, who both played this game. And I was like, okay, this might be over before it even started. Unless the Nets have one last push. And they did. The second quarter came and, KD turned it up. Kyrie hit like a shot or two and pretty much got them back within 7. I think the half ended 62 to 55, something like that. And then the second half came, and this is when it really got crazy. We had KD, who basically took over the game in the third quarter. He just got to his spots, he made his shots, and there was no way to stop him. DeJounte Murray tried to, counteract on the other end. So did the whole Hawks team, and that didn't work. However, the Hawks were still in it until we got into the fourth, and that's when Kyrie Irving took it upon himself to score 15 straight points for the Nets. He hit a very deep three that reminded me of like the Cleveland Cavaliers Kyrie, like the Kyrie year when he was playing with LeBron. Like, it reminded me of one of those type of threes, and it was a clutch three. He had a couple of other clutch threes. He had some crazy layups, contested shots. He just took over in the fourth quarter, and just like I always say, I like the Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown duo. The KD and Kyrie duo, as if the last 10 games has been possibly one of the top 2 duos in the league right now. This is what we wanted. This is what we imagined when KD and Kyrie grouped up on the Nets. This is what we expected from them. This is what we saw the first couple of games. And this is, the team that we expected, that if they have James Harden, it's over for the league, this, that, and the third. If KD and Kyrie could play like this all the time, this team can really make it far, and they could possibly even win a chip this year. And then the funny thing about this whole thing is that even though Kyrie was going off, when it mattered the most, right, the last 3 or 4 possessions, they give it to KD. KD made all decisions, and he hit 2 clutch buckets that the Hawks could not answer. And then we got all the way down to the last shot. KD hits the shot for the Nets, and then the Hawks try to hit a shot to win it, because at that point it's 108 to 107. I think it was like 5 seconds left on the clock, and the Hawks missed it. So to see the Nets win 10 games in a row, and this is the same team who in the beginning everybody was like, oh, they're not going to make it nowhere, just blow up the whole team. This KD Kyrie experiment failed, this, that, and the third. And I kept saying, just give them time. Wait until the 30-game mark, the 40-game mark. All they need is a 10-game winning streak, and everybody's going to be talking about them again. Everybody's going to jump back on the bandwagon. Everybody's going to talk about how, All they needed was Ben Simmons and Seth Curry to be back. All they needed was TJ Warren to be back. And I'm not going to lie, TJ Warren's defense has been the best I've ever seen him play defensively. And for that to happen when he's coming off of an injury is like insane. Like, I've never seen TJ Warren play defense. And this is a player that he played on the Suns for years. He played for the Pacers. I've never seen him play defense. Like, for real. And he gets to the Nets. He gets injured, obviously. He doesn't play the beginning of the season. He comes back. And defensively, he's showing up. He had a couple of steals and a couple of stops by himself. But anyways, it's enough of that game. Shout out to KD. Shout out to Kyrie. You know, they delivered. I think they each had like 30 points. But we on to our next game. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Chicago Bulls game. Now, this game is probably the best game of the night. For the Bulls to be down and to come back and push it to OT and win was insane. But the crazy part is that Giannis and DeMar DeRozan went off for 40-plus points each. DeMar ends the game with like 42, and Giannis ends the game with 45 and 22 rebounds. 22 rebounds from Giannis is like something we have not seen before. I've seen Giannis grab 14, 15, 16, even 17. But for him to have a 45 and 20 game is insane. The first quarter, Giannis, I think, had the first 7 of the Bucks' 9 points. And then, you know, it was a little back and forth between them. And then we got into the second quarter. It was still a little back and forth. The third quarter, the Bulls tried to lock in, but Giannis was just like too much. Like, he took over. And I'm not going to lie, like, Zach LaVine had 24 this game, but the way he was taking his shots, it felt like it was a mid 24 points. It wasn't nothing crazy. It wasn't nothing like, you know, quiet. It was like in the middle, like you felt it, but you did not feel it. And maybe it's because it was overshadowed by DeMar's 42 points. But 24 from Zach before did not feel this quiet. And he did miss a couple of shots that I feel like he should have made. But I guess it doesn't matter because the team won. And I'm not going to lie, the Bucks really need Jrue Holiday. I think they're on like a 2-3 game losing streak. All I know is that they're not the same as, like, you know, the same Bucks team that we saw in the beginning of the season that won 9 in a row. Like, they need Jrue Holiday back. And how do we get to overtime and Giannis only scores 2 points in OT? Like, make that make sense. I know Giannis is the type of player that, you know, plays full speed and all that stuff, so he probably was tired by that point. But at the same time, 2 points from your best player in OT, that's unacceptable. Our next game of the night, we had the Pelicans go up against the Timberwolves. Now, mind you, Timberwolves did not have Karl-Anthony Towns. So this would have been a bad look if the Pelicans managed to lose this game. But obviously Zion, who's the same type of player as a LeBron, as a Giannis, he came out and he delivered and had his career high of 43 points to lead the Pelicans past the Timberwolves. And this was a super close game. Now, mind you, the Pelicans were behind. They came back from behind and won this game. And there was plenty of times, even in the fourth quarter, where the Timberwolves were up by 5 points, 7 points, 10 points, and the Pelicans just kept fighting. They stayed in it. At a certain point in the fourth, Zion gave Rudy Gobert his 5th foul, and after that, it was over. Zion got to the basket, he got to the free throw line, and there was no stopping him. And the crazy thing that happened was Zion only had 10 points in the first half. That means he scored 33 points in the second half. And he even hit a 3. Zion's not the type of player that, is going to make threes at a very high clip or at a very consistent clip. He's not even the type of player to take that many threes. But yesterday he made 1. And this was also an all-around good game from the Pelicans. CJ had like 20 points. We had Valanciunas who came out and he, showed up. Trey Murphy the third, he also came out and had like 16 or 20 points. So, all around the starters showed up and they delivered. All we need is Brandon Ingram to be back. Like, I hate the fact that we barely seen him play. And it's like every season we barely see BI play. He comes back for 5-10 games, then he gets injured for like 3 weeks, then he comes back, then he gets injured. Like, it's like he only shows up for the beginning of the season, for after All-Star break, and like the playoffs if they make it. And on the Timberwolves side, honestly, it was a good game, but Anthony Edwards, scoring was paused for a while in the third quarter. He had 23 points for a long time. And that's not good from your best scorer, especially that Cat is out. And D'Lo obviously is, taking care of the playmaking side. So he needs to score more. You cannot go a long time where you're not scoring, especially in the second half of the game. In the first half, it's cool. Like, there's a lot of players who don't really go crazy in the first quarter, like Jason Tatum, like Devin Booker. Sometimes Jaylen Brown doesn't even do anything until the second half. Like, there's a lot of players who don't do anything in the first quarter. But in the second half of the game, you have to deliver. The third and the fourth are the most important, like, quarters of the game. The first two is like each team is filling out each other, seeing what they're going to do, what we're going to do. And in the second half, when you come out of halftime and, you already spoke in the locker room, y'all come out in the second half, that's when both teams deliver, and that's when they lock in. The games become either slowed down or speeded up depending on the team. So, I don't know, 23 points and you're paused on that for a while. I feel like that's the reason why they lost. Obviously not the main reason, but I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why they lost. But anyways, let's get on with the final game of the night. We had the Nuggets go up against the Kings for, the second time. I think it's like a back-to-back, game. I don't know if they had a day in between or not. But I do know that they did play each other before, and they played each other again yesterday. And Jokic went off for 43 points. Like, this is his second game, I think, in a week or two, where he had 40 or more points. Now, mind you, they lost. And they lost because the Nuggets defense is garbage. Because they were up this whole game until the fourth quarter. And in the fourth quarter, the Kings finally found a way to play defense, and they locked in, and they got out on transition, and, they scored. De'Aaron Fox hit a three. And I always say, if De'Aaron Fox hits a three against your team, just pack your bags. Go home. De'Aaron Fox does not hit threes like that. Like, if De'Aaron Fox hits a three, he's out of luck. So, for the Nuggets to allow him to hit a three or to be wide open on a three-point shot and make it, that's like a miracle. And that should have told them everything. That was like, to me, that was the exclamation mark on the game. Because how you got Jokic with 43 points and nobody's going to guard Sabonis and Fox? Like, how did they both have like 30 points each? And then you had Malik Monk come off the bench and give them 32. That's at least 90 points from 3 players. That means the rest of the entire team only scored like 37 points or less. Like, where was the Nuggets at? What were they doing? What was their defense? And I hate the Nuggets transition defense. It's like they don't get back. MPJ came back. He had a decent game. I want him to have a better game. Obviously, we all expect MPJ to be, one of the greatest players on this Nuggets team. Top 3, we all, put him there. But at a certain point, he needs to show up. We can't just keep giving him, the title if he's not showing up and delivering. And he does when he's on the court, but he gets injured a lot too. He's another one of those like Brandon Ingram type of players who shows up, goes crazy, and then gets injured. I wouldn't put him with the Kawhi and AD yet because they on a whole different. That's a whole different topic. They get injured every 5 games and disappear. MPJ at least delivers. He'll come out and give you 30 points, 35. He's still a threat. I just feel like that he could have been better, especially yesterday, knowing that, Jokic is basically doing this by himself. Some honorable mentions. We had the Heat go up against the Lakers and they won. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo came back. I think the Lakers just have bad luck. I mean, you have AD injured, and then you have the Heat going up against you, and 2 of their best players who have not been playing recently came back from injury or rest. And, obviously the Lakers were not going to win that game. They lost it by 14. I expect them to lose it by way more. But the fact that they lost it by 14 is, shows sign of improvement. LeBron ends the game like 27, nothing crazy. And then, Westbrook has like 15. Everybody else did not show up for the Lakers. And that's pretty much why they lost. And then we had the Warriors go up against the Jazz. And what I told you, wait until we get around the 30-game mark, the 40-game mark. The Jazz true play, their true potential is going to show. They lost to the Warriors without Steph, without Clay. Only Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, really played. Poole had 26. Warriors win by 5. And, the Jazz lose. And the crazy thing about it is they didn't do anything different than what they was doing in the beginning. It just now teams are getting better defensively. And they're able to lock that up. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. It's time for y'all to let me know what y'all think down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is Real Talker E. It's time to leave the locker room. I'm going to catch y'all. Safety.